The body shouldn't have been in my mother's kitchen, but there it was, folded wrong, like someone had tried to tuck death into a corner. The overhead bulb flickered, throwing quick, nervous shadows across the linoleum. I could still smell the iron in the air, metallic and patient. The phone on the counter vibrated once, twice, then stopped, as if even it understood that calling now would be an intrusion. I didn't move, didn't breathe. The way the hands were arranged, palms up, fingers splayed, told me whoever did this wanted to be understood, or admired. Hard to tell these days. A neighbor's voice drifted through the cracked window, whispering to someone outside, "You didn't hear this from me." Too late. I'd already heard everything I needed in the silence. It wasn't chaos, it was curated, thought out. Like someone had studied old murders and decided to improve on them. I started small. Edges, angles, inconsistencies. A wallet placed too neatly. A smear wiped in the wrong direction. A timestamp on a discarded bus ticket that didn't match the rigor mortis setting in the body. Emotion twitched under my ribs, but I kept it leashed. Panic solves nothing. Patterns solve everything. I walked the room like an intruder in my own life, touching only with my eyes. The details didn't scream, they whispered. Lies always whisper before they rot into truth. Every clue I found felt less like discovery and more like recognition. Someone had rehearsed this. Someone close. People around me began to shift, subtly, instinctively. Their smiles tightened. Their voices thinned. They asked questions that felt more like measurements. A friend avoided my gaze for the first time in 10 years. My sister's laugh stuttered when I asked where she'd been last night. And my reflection in a dark window looked back with something I didn't trust. This wasn't random violence. It carried intention like a fingerprint. I kept replaying stories I'd studied, cases where killers memorized the lives of their victims, where they inserted themselves into investigations with a practiced calm. Edmund Kemper had done that, sitting across from detectives as if he were merely a witness to his own atrocities. The same deliberate confidence radiated through these clues, too organized for impulse, too intimate for chance. A pattern formed, thin as wire, cutting its way through everything I'd assumed about the people I cared for. Paranoia didn't arrive loudly. It hummed, low, steady, inevitable. The truth surfaced in a place I almost overlooked, my mother's desk drawer. A recorder, still warm to the touch, holding a single audio file. I pressed play. My breath stalled. A familiar voice confessed with surgical calm, describing how they planned the murder step by step, as if narrating a recipe. No anger, no hesitation, just control. Someone I trusted had studied my habits, my routines, my blind spots. They knew exactly how I'd find the body, exactly how I'd react. This wasn't about money, it wasn't revenge, it was power. And I'd been chosen as the final audience. I didn't storm into their house, I didn't shout, I simply delivered the evidence. I waited until they were surrounded, friends, colleagues, people who once believed their charm was truth. Then I placed the recorder on the table, pressed play, and watched the room hollow out. No accusations, no theatrics. Just the sound of their own voice dismantling the last defense they had. Their expression didn't crumble, it froze. The moment realization dawned that every move they'd rehearsed had already been undone. Justice isn't loud, it's a quiet subtraction, pulling away one certainty at a time until nothing remains. By the time the police placed their hands behind their back, they weren't fighting. They were remembering every step they'd miscalculated. They looked at me as if I'd betrayed them. They were wrong. They'd lost before I ever pressed play. Afterward, the world resumed its usual indifference. I walked home through a street washed clean by morning rain, the kind of weather that erases footprints but not memory. People asked if I felt relief. I didn't. Relief requires hope, and I'd traded that long before the body hit the floor. Justice isn't a victory, it's maintenance. The dull work of keeping darkness in its cage. I unlocked my door, stepped inside, and listened to the quiet breathe around me.